into it here. Turn down this music. Ugh. I forgot that I do characters for these and had to change costumes last minute because I needed to grab this guy, but we are all ready to go. Alrighty. Hello. Oh gosh. Probably should have synchronized the green screen better with this yellow, but you know what? We'll just deal. So, what is on the agenda for today? Today, my main goal is to basically just kind of, oh man. Here we go. I want to go and watch my predictions video and just kind of see how wrong I was about everything that's happened so far. We'll see how bad I actually was, but I don't know. Maybe I didn't get too much wrong. All I know is Irving could still be the Mockingjay. It's the main thing I'm holding out for. But we will see. Okay. Not really sure how I'm gonna play this and listen to it. I don't know if I can even hear it on this side. I think just the stream can. Alright. I may just have to play it on both my phone and for you guys here. So let's go ahead. Okay. Ads. I hate when YouTubers put ads on their channel, you know what I'm saying? Alright. So, we're gonna go ahead and kick this guy off here. Wait, where's that? Oh, here we go. Alright. We're gonna go ahead and start the video. Oops, wait, hold on. I did not sync that up right, I'm sorry. This edit was pretty fun to make. I really like what they did with the Cure song. And when you actually watch it for the first time, if you were there when the... Actually, I guess no matter what, when you watch this episode for the first time, having that be their punishment was very disorienting. Because it's like, you know they messed up. You know they're going to get in trouble. But to have them just sort of get serenaded to, it's like, wait, what? Let's see, I think my thing is going slower than it needs to be. Oh my gosh, I'm going at 50% speed? Why am I doing this? There we go. Okay. I will go ahead and, sorry y'all, restart that one more time. Okay, now we're synced. Now I can actually keep up here.
Chosen one key.
I'm really sorry.
Key, brilliant one key.
Interesting that we didn't get another visit to the break room this season.
Through the torment, through the break.
Some people were asking what the other MDR team staff could be working on or refining, and I think the goal is to just work on all people who are available down below, but not everyone is available down below, or as synchronizable as I wanted to throw out one last Severance video before Season 2 officially dropped. In this video, I'll be doing a predictions. I'm going to split it up. Basically, it's going to be a predictions for characters where I have an idea where they're going, a predictions for characters that I have completely no idea where they might go. I also wanted to go through some of the comments and throw out some of the most interesting theories or additions to theories that I've seen you guys throw out there. And at the end, I'll just do one quick little theory on where I think Season 2 will take us as a whole. The goal is to get this predictions video out, react to season 2, and then come back to this video and see how horribly mistaken I was on most. I really angled myself wrong here. I'm sorry. For reference, I have not received the show early. Apple somehow didn't anticipate that I was going to start a channel just a month or 2 before the show would come out. That's on them.
Apple, please send me a balloon.
But I have seen some of the promos and a couple of the cast interviews. I know promos can give some things away, and I know the cast interviews, if you guys ever are fans of those, they can sometimes let things slip. So if that is something you're worried about for potential spoilers, definitely avoid watching the rest of this video. I definitely haven't had anything confirmed. I haven't read any leaks or anything like that. This is really just my
this
own
predictions
thoughts
video
and
is
maybe
indicative
some
of
bits and pieces
anything.
influenced by the media.
It's
I've
very
seen so
obvious
far.
I did not.
Point is, I'm
get
excited
any
to kind of
leaks.
share and see how much I can get right. This is going to be a less scripted type of video.
Pretty sure I was
than
wrong
I
about
am.
most of my
So
predictions.
sorry if that annoys some of you. Point is, I've seen people do predictions videos, so I'm excited to kind of make a video and embarrass myself on a wider scale. We're gonna go ahead and start with Mark.
All right, Mark.
My predictions for Mark is I think he's mainly going to be trying to figure out what happened to Miss Casey. I think if this show goes on for a couple of seasons, he will eventually get to the point where he'll want to take down Lumen a little more aggressively. But for right now, I think he's more like a whistleblower. I think he's more like someone who's trying to raise awareness and be a citizen detective and figure out what's going on at Lumen and for all the indie sakes.
I guess that's kind of true.
For Helly, I think
Let's pause that here before we get into Helly. I guess that's kind of true. So, Mark, I mean, it sucks because none of the characters really had a lot of. Well, they did and they didn't. None of the characters really had too much agency, but some of them really did. So, like, Mark was a character who you could see him kind of starting off on the route of, like, getting people, like, basically up until this episode here, episode 3. He was trying to get innies and stuff to be aware of how crappy Lumen was, but after that point, once Woe's Hollow hit, it was just kind of things happening to them. Like, as soon as they realized Helly was Helena, they just didn't know what to do, and they were just kind of, like, going to work. You know, Audi Mark was moving the plot forward a lot, but in regards to Innie Mark, yeah, I mean, that was a pretty, like, broad prediction. Mark gonna try to raise awareness and try to take down Lumen. I guess he didn't really try to raise awareness either. So I was kind of wrong on the only, like, somewhat differentiating part between my theory. Dang. Well, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I don't like that theory. I don't like that prediction. That's like, Mark is gonna be the main character of the show. That wasn't very,
she will continue
Very good.
to be at odds with
We'll see.
herself. I can see just maybe realizing more of who she is as a character. One thing I wanted to point out while rewatching season 1 was it's been so long since I have seen the series that in my head, Ellie had been consistently a member of the Egan's family from the very beginning of the show. I failed to realize that
yeah,
was a
thinking about the
reveal
show,
that
she
they
just
kept
sat in my
the
head
last
as an
few
Egan for
episodes,
so
or maybe
long,
even the
and then you
last
forget
episode.
rewatching it, and you're
So
like, oh
I'm
wow,
interested
yeah,
to
no one
see
knows
if
she's
we
an
actually
Egan.
get to see more of that Egan connection.
I saw
now.
someone on Twitter
Even
comment
though
that
it feels
nobody
like I saw a
reacted to
lot,
her being
I
an
guess we
Egan,
really did only see
and someone
very
replied
little.
with her being drowned.
I could also see
Thought
her
that was pretty
sneaking
great.
in and pretending to be an innie. I don't know. I think it'd be a fun storyline too, to have her pretending to be, you know, a part of it. I also remember seeing, I think it was a cast interview where basically
Season 1 was
someone had
great.
discussed the idea.
I like this
think it was
season
Brett,
more,
the
but
actor
season
who
1 was
plays
great.
Ellie. They had discussed the idea.
Yeah, they're both trapped in really different ways. Helena's trapped within the company that she's born into.
Audi Helly basically being a little jealous of Innie Helly and like being
Yeah.
rebellious, and maybe she wants to be rebellious and be an Innie as well. But yeah, that's where I think they might take Helly this season. How the season could end with her, I don't know. It depends on how closely attached Innie Helly becomes to Mark.
Oh,
If Innie Helly becomes much more attached to Mark, I could see it ending with Innie Helly maybe disappearing altogether, you know, and Audi Helly kind of taking the reins, which would be really sad, obviously. But if the show goes on for a few more seasons, it would add a lot of weight. Plus, you get to keep the amazing actor around, so that's
She's amazing.
double whammy.
Greatest moments of
All
this
right.
planet.
Before we move on to Milchick, Helly, we did get that in the prediction. We did technically get her sort of, you know, her character was kind of explained. I feel like I did get her character pretty on the nose. The only thing is that I did bring up the theory as well. Did I? I don't know if I did bring up the theory of them switching places, but that was a theory some people had.
The thing is, it's hard to tell what's a leak and what's not. Like for my Yellow Jackets videos, people on Twitter will just straight up describe a scene in detail and call it a theory. And I'm like, what? Why would you say this to me? Point is, I do think that Helly's the closest I've gotten so far with these predictions. And again, I do gotta debate if that was just a broad prediction or not. I gotta do better with my predictions. I'll come up with a more thought out prediction now. Well, the plot, to be fair, season 1, there was so much existential about the plot that we still didn't know. There were so many loose threads. Like, we didn't know a single fact about Gemma. So to predict where they could have ended up would be really hard without even a clue as to where Gemma was, or if she was even alive. We had no clue she was even alive at the point I made this video. So, I mean, hey, that's good storytelling, though. If the show can just totally transform between the season, I think that's what I kind of like, is like, the first season of the show is very much build up. It very much is setting the pieces where they need to be, so it's easy to kind of theorize and take any direction. And then you realize, oh no, they already have their direction perfectly in mind, and it's not anything you'd ever imagine. Which is what I like to see. Then we have Mr. Milchick. Mr. Milchick. So, this one, I actually had no clue where he could be going until I saw a cast interview. I'm excited for this one. Just full clarification. Let's see. Basically, it's the idea that he will be trying to fix his whole mess. The idea that he will...
He's got to clean up the mess he made in season 1.
Oh man, he kind of gave me that one. Darn it. Maybe I say something pretty profound here in a second. Figure out how to like take control of things after Miss Cobell is potentially fired, which I'm sure she will be, but point is, I think he's taking more of a leadership role in Lumen and maybe working on putting out a lot of fires. That's where I can see him going. How the season will end for him could be anyone's game, but I hope they keep him around for a long time. So gosh dang it, dude. I don't know. We'll have to see. We're horrible at predictions. Oh my goodness. I just said he was gonna clean up his fires, which is exactly what the actor said. Oh man, it was horrible. Yeah, there was a lot of baby symbolism. I'm glad Miss Huang wasn't her baby. And I'm also glad she didn't end up giving birth or anything like that to a clone or anything like that. I enjoyed that the baby was still a big part of the plot, which was really awesome, and it gave weight to the symbolism, but it also didn't do the cliche like, I don't know if it's cliche per se, but I'm glad they didn't go the route I thought they would.
He said she's alive.
This is obscene.
I just want to be sure.
Let's see Devin. All right, Devin. Mark's sister will be actually, hold on. Putting together... Oh, crap. Before I go too far into Devin, I do want to address something. Devin's actor... Oh, my goodness. How am I not... Hold on. I want to address this correctly because she absolutely kills it. Jen Tulloch was doing a video. She was doing an interview. And in the interview, she was basically addressing the fact that her character already knew that Cobell wasn't to be trusted. She wasn't really going into the idea of partnering with Cobell like sunshine and rainbows. She was even addressing it within the show, like, do you think I want to do this? So even though these small scenes were indicative of her thoughts on this whole plan, I guess it was easy for me, given the intensity of the situation, and many others, to fall in line with the idea that she really was just making a dumb decision. But at the same time, I fell in line with she was more panicked, but I guess she was less panicked than I thought, because she knew that it was a bad idea, but she was just so many steps ahead that there really was no other option. Like, she couldn't go back to Ragabi. I don't even know if she had a way to contact Ragabi. Are you just going to sit and wait for Lumen? Are you going to go and knock on Lumen's door, the people who have her captured? Like, there's really, when you sit there and think about it for a while, there's no other option that she could have done, and she just got to that conclusion a lot faster. So, thank you for putting that into perspective. I really appreciate the fact that we were able to, well, not we, I appreciate that Jen was able to actually, you know, explain to us more about her character, because a lot of us, I feel, were falling into the impression that, you know, she just wasn't thinking that clearly. But it's like, no, she actually was thinking way too clearly. She thought way ahead. That was the only option that her character could have been aware of, to be fair. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. The pieces of what Lumen could actually be doing. I don't know how involved she's going to be in the season, but I could see her spending a lot of time trying to convince Audi Mark that like something weird's going on. It seems like he's pretty in disbelief at whatever any Mark had yelled. It's true, it took it to reintegration. His wife being alive. I think it would be really fun to play with Audi Mark, who was finally healing. We could see at the end of season 1, was finally coming to terms with some things, now having to face the conflict of his wife being alive. And his sister, while genuinely and for good reason trying to figure out what's going on and convince Audi Mark that this is something worth investigating, has to play with this delicately, because like that's gonna cause a
She
lot
was
of
pretty good
emotional
at being delicate
turmoil
with him.
for Mark Audi, and I just
She was
can't
very
see,
good at communicating with him.
I can't see him willing to accept the idea that his wife is still alive so easily. I can kind of see where the character would be coming from if they rejected the idea.
My Audi's wife died a few years ago. Except the woman is Miss Casey.
Miss Casey, what'd I say?
I do have a little bit of a theory. I think just in general, if she does appear back in the show, it's going to be through flashbacks for sure, or it's going to be as a hallucination or something that isn't real.
Pause. Now, I was right on both fronts, but that was not like a wild guess. I won't even pat myself on the back for that one. We got flashbacks and hallucination in one. I had no idea the flashbacks would be so impactful. Looking at the trailer and seeing those little tiny glimpses of the flashbacks, I was like, oh yeah, you know, shows always do this. There'll be like a few segments or whatever. It won't be a big deal. That sequence of their entire love story was genuinely breathtaking. If you see my reaction for it, it was, my goodness, it was some of the best television I've seen. Luminaholics. Nice. I like that. I like that. All right, let's go ahead and see what I said for Miss Casey and how right I really was.
It's going to be a different version of her, like a different innie. Either way, I don't see her herself coming back in the same version we saw in season 1. That's for sure. Although I hope we see more of her. The music inside those sessions she was having with the characters was genuinely amazing.
I did say that we... Hold on, pause. I did say that we'd see a new version of her, a new innie. And while we did see Miss Casey again, it took a while to see her again. We got to see her twice, actually. That was dope. Point is, I did say that we were going to see a new innie. We saw like 18 new innies. Or I guess 24. We didn't see 24, but we saw quite a bit of her many, many innie versions. So that was cool to see. That was very, very cool to see. Gemma's my favorite character in the show. Gemma and Devin, which is why I'm so excited for them to team up next season. Season 2 was the perfect ending for the series for me, personally. The more I think, I'm not even going to start this video just yet. The more I think about it, the more narratively Season 2 just fit like a perfect puzzle piece. Like you have, someone brought up the idea that they used 16 for both the love story and Gemma and Mark Audi, and then same for Helly and Mark when they're running down the hallway at the end. And they basically ended the quote with like, this is a love story. And Ben Stiller had retweeted it or replied to it or something like that. Point is, it is interesting, the comparison. And it does kind of add weight to the fact that Helly was not Helena at the end there. I know that she gave a weird look over at Gemma, but I think even Britt had said in an interview, like, she was just taken by her performance. And maybe they just caught that on film and decided to keep it. The writers could change this, obviously. But as far as the actors, and Ben Stiller says, like, that was Helly at the end there. Which I think is cool, because them running into just with no hope on where to go, like, I don't know. Someone brought up the fact that that would have been a perfect ending to the series too. And I was like, yeah, you know what? If the series had ended there, just their storyline. The other storyline still needed closure, but if it ended with that, I think that would have been a decent ending. That would have been a Twin Peaks-like ending. That would have made the show just go down even more than Twin Peaks. My goodness. All right, let's go ahead and get into this here.
Now, because my favorite one. I was considering
Irving. I was so maybe right, maybe wrong. Let's see what I say.
I'll just throw it in here with the predictions and see how wrong I am. I think Irving is guaranteed to be the spark that takes down.
Kinda.
I don't know if he himself is gonna be busting in there, guns blazing, taking everybody out, but I do think that his action within the story.
Sorry. One thing I kept thinking about when the show was coming out was the idea that at some point the characters would get a bunch of guns and just start fighting off a bunch of Lumen employees, which I really didn't think was that good. I didn't like the idea of the show turning into an action sequence all of a sudden. However, it's funny because by the end of the show, that became my favorite aspect of the second season, was the whole fight sequence and rummaging through the halls all bloody with a bolt gun. You know, it was one of those things where they delivered it so well in such a unique and quirky way and grounded way that it was very satisfying to see. So they didn't do this with Irving, obviously, but like in general, that was a big fear of mine, especially with the AI images of Milchick and Mark shooting up the place. I was just all right.
Story and his role within the story is definitely going to be to take down Luke. I'll get to that in a second, but for season 2, I can fully see him trying to reconnect with Bert. There was a shot in the trailer that suggested that Bert might not be as innocent on the outside as he is on the inside. It would be really interesting to find some conflict between both of them, especially if Audi Irving is actively against
There
Luke
was some-
and Audi Bert is actively.
Yeah.
But either way, at some point, Irving's actions, or at least Audi Irving's actions, are going to be the spark that takes down Lumen. I don't know if I see Irving surviving the story.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. I do think that's pretty good because if Irving didn't get involved right then and there, Dylan would have lived on perfectly building this weird relationship with his other wife, with his Audi's wife. Mark would have been totally fine going on with Helena, and they would have gotten connected, which would have in turn meant Cold Harbor would have been finished without problem, or maybe a different type of problem. Either way, Gemma would be screwed, right? Gemma making it out as big for the fight against Lumen. We'll see next season, but Gemma making it out as huge. She was presumed dead. Obituary. Obituary. I'm trying to think of the song that uses that word. Anyways, point is, she was presumed dead and there was a body given to the coroner's office. The people, the kids, the Whole Mind Collective, the rock bands, all the people who have spoken against Lumen so far are going to be like, hey, Gemma, oh, you said you were dead? Oh, yeah, it says here in the news you were dead. Oh, the coroner said you were dead. But you're obviously alive. But they were doing what to you down there? Like, there's going to be so much to have there. And no, I don't think the police are instantly going to be investigating Lumen. Or not, like, I mean, taking down Lumen. But it does open the idea that maybe a new investigative character will come along and kind of try to figure out what's going on at Lumen. And I can see Milchik trying to desperately maintain the composure that Lumen treats its innies well. And like an investigator just kind of walking around the Lumen building being like, this place is weird. Why are you guys all so weird? I don't know. There's a lot of storyline that could be had with like a normal dude or a normal gal just kind of walking around Lumen being like, I don't know. I'm just excited to kind of see what they could do with that whole prospect. But either way, let's go ahead and keep going here.
As a whole, I hope he does. I think that'd be really interesting. But if he doesn't survive, he's definitely going to be a
He did
martyr,
kind of die
and he's
too.
definitely going to be what
In a way.
pushes Mark to actively and more aggressively try to take down Luke.
It's probably my best
I
theory
could
so
be wrong
far.
on that, but if anyone's going to be that initial kickoff, not like just looking for inquiries or just trying to figure out what's going on, but genuinely be the spark, the Mockingjay of the Severance world.
Heck yeah. I still
really
sit by
hope
this.
that it's Irving and that's his grand.
I think he did. I think there was a point in the show where it could have gone either direction, and Irving chose that direction for our characters.
That was severed. I think that would be awesome.
Wild cards and unknowns. I think Rickon was one of these. I'm excited.
Here are some unknowns I have. I can maybe think of some things, but I just can't think of anything worth actually putting to paper in regards to where I think these specific characters will go. But in regards to Dylan, I can see him hopefully trying to reconnect with his family. I don't know. There has to be more to it than that.
Yeah.
He better not die. I don't know. I know there's not a lot of death in this show, but we can't lose Dylan. Another questionable
There
character,
isn't a
another
lot.
unknown for me is Miss Cobell. I have no idea where they'll take her.
Each death we've had on the show has been pretty violent. Besides that, there's not much death though. And they're very similar archetypes too. They're all the muscle of Lumen that get taken out. Yeah. I think they were really trying to make us feel like Irving was dying in episode 4. In retrospect, now that the season's over. Which sucks because they obviously kept showing him, but like, I don't know, I never felt like he was dead. I was just like, oh, I wonder when they'll turn him back on. I don't know. Don't know. It's just me though. Well, I'm sure many others too.
I don't know if she'll actually end up being fired, or if she is fired, what she'll end up doing. I think she's amazing in every scene that we get from her, but I just can't. I mean, even season 1, I couldn't predict anywhere she would go, so I'm excited to see what they do with her, but I got nothing.
I could not have seen what a freeze frame. I could not have seen where Cobell's character was going. The fact that she had invented Severance was not on my list in the slightest. In my head, I guess we didn't know it at the time, or did we? In season 1, they didn't reveal when Severance was actually created, I think. Oh no, they did in the final episode. Oh no, they did reveal it. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I just never would have fathomed that Cobell would have been a child laborer at an ether factory. You know, that would have invented Severance. I think Kier still invented Severance, but she invented the means to make it possible. All right. Rickon. I saw like one picture. I didn't actually read through it, but I saw one picture comparing him to one shot of the trailer with the guy that looks similar. Perhaps he could have a brother. I kind of hope that's not the case, but it's possible. Other than that, Rickon, I don't know. He's a joy to. Many great theories about this character. What's interesting, I believe. Let me make sure real quick. I believe it was Nika Nack that had brought up the idea, to me at least, that on her recent Severance video, you should check it out if you haven't seen it, that Rickon could potentially be a offspring of the Egans, which I myself do believe. You saw in my original predictions video, I did believe he was related to the Egans here. You'll see me say in a second. However, to see that, let's see. Oh yeah, anything we can imagine, we can create. That's very true. Not many people can say that and actually be right. Oh my gosh, that is such a... Oh, wow. Wow, good call. That hits so much harder now. You totally broke my train of thought, but that's okay. That's worth it. That's cool. Wow. No, what was I saying? Oh yeah, in regards to him being related, we got more evidence of that Nika Nack had called out in regards to the birthing retreat, and the fact that they call out it's one of James when they're actually getting Devin in there. So obviously he does have a lot of kids. Obviously kids that don't really live up to Kier, he's pretty disappointed with. And we've seen that in both Helly and Helena. And we know he has other kids, but Helena is the closest he is with one of his kids. So if Rickon was born into one of these birthing retreats and as an Egan, it's very possible that he was just very not Kier enough for James' liking. So I could definitely see that. Luminaholics is an amazing term. I really like that. Very scary stuff. Cobell does need to be stopped by the end of the series. I do not think she should be happy by the end. People really trust her, and it's like, yeah, I mean, she helped Mark. I don't think she's gonna... I think she wants Lumen. I don't think she wants to take down Lumen. And I do think being a scientist and a well-studied person, I think, and a pretty callous person, I think she would be willing to put the innies through even worse to accomplish Cold Harbor. I think she is one step below Dr. Maurer, and I'm not going to falter on that. I do not think that she is that much better than Dr. Maurer. I think Dr. Maurer is a creep. I think she's just cold. And by that I mean like what she's willing to do to innies, not like morally, but like in regards to Dr. Maurer, I don't think he gives a crap about innies. I think he cares about them in a very creepy way. Cobell, I think, cares about them in a very like scientific rat study type of way, you know? So two very different types of characters, but both equally cruel to innies, I think. Or he's a little more cruel for sure, but she's one step lower. Wait. What job were they going to give her again? It was a new job, like Severance Overseer or something like that. What was the job they were offering her? It wasn't a job that existed at Lumen already. Because I was wondering if it was maybe the job he had, but no. That was a new position. It was like Severance Oversight or something like that. Which again, rewatching those scenes with Cobell and Helena are really good once you realize Cobell deserves so much more. So does Milchick. Why do they not have... Someone brought this up. How are they having Milchick running around the entire Lumen building to take care of things and not have any security? Like, you're telling me they have a whole marching band with potentially unstable people and, like, a whole bunch of stuff going on that they need taken care of, and they don't have any security anywhere? Even in Cold Harbor, like, a place they're so desperate to keep safe, they just have a nurse down there. A nurse just chilling down there. And they literally got Brienne of Tarth as an innie, as a severed. Like, surely you could have used her in any other position than a Mammalian. They should have made her Drummond 2.0. Imagine if Mark had to fight both her and Drummond. He would have been torn in half 3 times over. I don't think she's helping any of the. Yeah, I agree. I don't think she's helping any of the marks. I think she's just using them to get what she needs from Lumen. But yeah, she is not trustworthy. Severance Advisory Council, nice. Oh. Severance Advisory Council, nice. All right, let's see here. Have on the show altogether. I just like watching him, and just his subtle microaggressions towards Mark is just, it's great. Anyways, those I have no clue. Oh, I could have sworn I said Egan was.
First day here as deputy manager.
I swore I could.
Mark W.
Why are you a child?
Because of when I was born.
Miss Wong. I also have no idea where the new characters that are coming in are going to go. Fair, 4 of them disappeared. If anything, I thought getting a new cast would mean seeing a new floor or seeing a new department. Did not think we'd be getting more NDR. Interestingly enough, we did get both. We got new MDR staff that were there for like an episode and glimpses later on, and then they were gone. So, of course, no one could predict where they would have gone because they were just kind of there. They might come back. And they did clue to the finale in regards to saying like some of them took ropes down instead of an elevator, some had animatronics, some had brooms, you know, so they did clue us in to what was going to happen. But yeah, but we did also get other floors. We got the cheer and merriment department, awesome to see. We got the no, I guess Wool's Hollow wasn't really another floor, huh? We did get to see what was in the exports hall, and that was so satisfying. Remember back when we had no idea what was down the dark hallway Irving was painting? Remember what we thought? Remember all the things going through our head, and we were like, yeah, I wonder what it could be. Really could be anything down that dark looming hallway that this dude's painting. It wasn't what I expected. I loved what they did with it, because it really took the idea of Severance and made it even more creative, rather than like throw a cliche idea and just add a little bit of a Severance twist. They were like, no, we're gonna lean into Severance and what we can do. Having 9 bajillion innies in one person was really traumatizing to see. Not traumatizing for me, but I mean traumatizing for, well, yeah, I think we're all a little traumatized. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. Well, let's see. Erickson has stated many times that there is an extreme whimsy to the show, and even toned down since the original script. There is such a whimsy to the show, 100%. Dan, oh man. Writers don't get a lot of credit a lot of time. Usually the showrunner will get credit, which is fair, but in general, that is very, very far behind the actors, the directors, and the producers. However, writers, he is getting a lot of fame, and I think it's well deserved, because to create a story like this, I'm not saying it was just him, it was this whole team, but like to create a story like this, I imagine is just almost impossible. But what's interesting and what makes it work is how passionate everyone is about it. No one's going in there trying to impress Hollywood or trying to get Apple sales or anything like this. They're just trying to make a really interesting artsy show, and you could tell by the actors involved. A lot of the actors are very passionate about the craft of acting altogether and the craft of storytelling. So when you have that much going on, and none of them really like, I don't know, I can't speak for Britt, but as far as I've seen from her, she wasn't really chasing fame. She was very much just about the craft and was found reasonably unknown for the show, or maybe for a movie or a couple of like indie movies beforehand. I don't really know. I should look more into that. But point is, I think the passion put into the show is also what helps elevate it to what it is. The idea and concept is great though by itself. He did write the show? Oh, wow. All the credit, wherever the credit can go, I give. Because this is, like, there's shows where they really take twists and interesting concepts and kind of, like, take different directions. An example would be Game of Thrones, where you have the medieval fantasy Lord of the Rings type story, but you're taking it in a very dark direction and very grounded things going on, and that's interesting as a narrative. But then you have shows where the concept is so unique, or the stuff putting to screen or putting into the narrative is so unique that it just creates a path for itself. Big series that I'm a fan of, Scavenger's Reign. If you like Severance, watch Scavenger's Reign. It's only like 8 episodes, I think, and it's very whimsical as well. It's an animated show,
So that might be like, I know a lot of people are turned off by animation, but that show truly, it was canceled. There's not going to be any other seasons. So if that's also turned off, don't feel need. But Scavenger's Reign is one of those shows that really was a super good example of just pure creativity put to screen. My goodness. And of course, we let it go. We let it go for another season of American Horror Story. All right, let's see here. Staff. So they could really go anywhere as far as I'm concerned.
Now.
Goodbye, Marcus.
Wait!
What a good season.
All in all, I think season
It
2
sucks
we're
because
going-
I know I keep pausing it, but that's kind of what the stream is for. So what's interesting is I am someone who, like, narratively there's not too much going on in this show that should hook me to it. There really isn't. I'm someone who enjoys, other than character development and amazing characters, I'm someone who very much prefers stories like apocalyptic, like humans pushed to extremes, so the decisions they make are more extreme and more, you know, representative of who they are, versus like shows which I want to try, shows like the Succession and like very business corporate shows. They're just so far from my realm of like my orbit of narrative that I just haven't really given them a chance. But I tried watching White Lotus, which I put in the same realm as that, and White Lotus is actually really good. So maybe I'll try broadening my my narrative horizons here. But Severance is a show that, like, you just can't help but really appreciate the story. You know, there's just so much to think about. There's so much to just sit and ponder. Whether it's the mystery, whether it's the characters, whether it's the decisions, or the concept as a whole. I got in a really long conversation about the benefit of having severance as an alternative to the death penalty. And basically what they were saying was you erase someone's mind and have their body work as like a construction worker or a garbage man or some sort of like community employment of some kind. And while there's a lot to debate there, the concept by itself was, it kept the conversation going for quite a while. Like, you're still killing someone kind of, but I mean, I guess you could technically bring them back, but I mean, if you got severed and like if Mark wakes up and he's 90 years old because Annie Mark never traded with him again for so long, like, is that really worth? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to be talked about there. Severance fit in our world. There's so many things they could do. They could literally end the series of the story of Mark with season 3, but then still touch on like spin-offs or like little side stories of like pregnancies, you know, of juries, of the prison system. Do you go to jail if your innie was the one who did something bad? Like, what? Just makes you think. Just makes you think. All right, let's go ahead and start. To be getting a little bit. Any chickens? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's exactly. You put it into words when I was yapping too long. When you can put it into sort of a meditation, when you can just linger on it for a long time and have a nice conversation about it that doesn't really lean too heavily to one side, it's pretty incredible. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very breathtaking show too. Just aesthetically, it's a very cool show as well. But gosh, Emma B, she does edits. I actually did a video with one of her edits for Severance. I think it was for the Shadow People. Check it out. Either way, Emma B does edits for Severance, and she is such a talented editor that, like, she captured all the little like sounds of the keyboard and the nice little like symmetric shots of the show. I don't know. I can't really put it into words. You just have to go watch the edit. Either way, yeah, this show has a lot of flavor to it. That is very. It's carved out a name for itself, both in its characters and its concept, both in its aesthetic, in its direction, in its finality. If it ends at season 3, like, they could end it at season 3 with the perfect narrative. They don't even have to introduce too many more mysteries. Just close a lot of the narrative arcs with these characters, and then there you go. You have a perfectly packaged series. Boom. I don't know. We'll see what corporations decide to do, though. It is Apple, so we'll see. They've been pretty. One thing I gotta give Apple credit for is the fact that they haven't been canceling their shows. There's a show called The Foundation, which hasn't been getting a lot of advertisement lately. Hasn't been on for a while because of writer strikes, but That show was another one I really liked, and they are still working on it. They're still pushing for it. So like Netflix would have given up on that a long time ago. All right, we'll start this. A bit more answers about Kier, but not everything. I think we may get a reuniting of both Miss Casey and Mark, or Gemma and Mark, one of the two. I think Miss Cobell is going to return as a powerhouse. I'm hoping that if she is fired, she's gonna be throughout the show like mess. Let's check out this comment. I'm reading the actual screen to read these comments because I just can't see them. Wonder if John, the mess behind the scenes, feels so much like a storage vessel. I do feel that John was, when the first season was written, again, I think it was a passion project. I don't know, they were hoping for his next season, but I don't know if they were guaranteed one. And I think John was mainly involved in the show to tell the story of him and Christopher Walken and like their friendship and be able, or just their relationship in general, and be able to put that to screen. I think it was a creative, interesting creative project for him to do. But in regards to season 2, I think the idea of a second season, I am totally assuming, by the way. I'm parasocially assuming, so do not take any of this for doubt. But I think stepping into season 2, a lot of actors I've noticed, and I can't really understand why, but I'm sure there's a good reason, they don't like the concept of being in this ongoing franchise type stories. A lot of actors don't like franchises, right? I think Juliette Lewis is another example. Point is, I don't know if he ever really wanted to stick around for a long time, but if they decide to end it at season 3, I think the actor might be okay with returning just to give the character some closure, especially considering that they've consistently kept the show the same thematically. They didn't shift. It didn't fall apart or dwindle after season 2. It very much kept within the realms of the narrative. But who knows? Maybe he won't be back until like 3 seconds of like a smile at Bert at the end of season 3, you know? I never got the idea that he wanted to stick around for a big part of season 2. I think they definitely wrote him in the way that, like, him and Christopher Walken scenes could have all been filmed in like 1 or 2 nights. Not relatively, I don't know how the filming schedule usually works, but in general, like, they could have filmed all those really fast and just spread them out throughout the season. But who knows? No! Oh, I just messed up my whole video. I lost where I was. Gosh dang it. Oh, here we go. Okay. Alright, let's play. Yeah, I mean, conceptually, I'd be okay with him not being there until maybe a news article or maybe a glimpse. Like a character maybe sees him at the end and just says hello. I'd be fine. I think he gave a lot to the story, especially considering he was kind of the Mockingjay, you know? He was the one that outed Helena. Things would have been real bad if he'd go back, and usually narratively there's a lot of circumstantial stuff to think about, but there's always a fork in the road point where the plot can go either direction. And yeah, you can blame some of the things that led to that fork in the road and say, well, that would have never happened for this. But I like to look at narratives and say, hey, the minute the fork in the road hits, let's just look at the most recent one. So the most recent big fork in the road, without too many external factors that could have changed the narrative, was Woe's Hollow. Was Irving's decision to out Helena. So it's like, he pretty much started the spark. He got Gemma out. I'm sorry, he got Gemma out. Gemma would not be out if it wasn't for Irving. I don't know who I'm arguing with. All right, let's go ahead and start. Around baking cookies, talking to people, doing whatever she was doing as an outie outside of Lumen. Point is, I could kind of see, based off the trailer, I'm seeing Mark kind of... if people don't like the fact that I pause this video, I am sorry, but this is mostly so I can just rewatch and chat. So let me know, but otherwise I'll definitely be pausing it quite a bit because I like reading the chat. It's not even safe for him to return. Yes, we don't know who was talking to, but as the leftovers, let the mystery be. I agree. There's no... unless Gemma, Cobell, or... Unless Gemma, Devin, or Cobell, separately or together, decide to reach out to him for some reason, maybe because he was reintegrating and he was reintegrated successfully, and it turns out he never passed away in Woe's Hollow and just kept walking out. Unless there was some sort of implementation there, you can just leave him be. Maybe even have a trial where eventually they do a trial and they're talking about people being severed and if it's okay, and he could just come in for like a 3-second like phone call, even if the actor doesn't want to come back. Or even just report on his story. And you can have another character or lawyer read his testimony for him. Don't get me wrong, I would love the actor to come back. But I mean, realistically, you don't need him to come back if he doesn't want to be a part of the project anymore. He served the story really well. But I mean, hey, please come back. I still want you to come back. All right. Seemingly try to get the rest of the departments to rise up with him. Either he's gonna lead them all to something decently bad or some kind of trap, or he's going to get turned on by all of them in some way, shape, or form. He was gonna turn on. I don't see a rebellion really starting this early in the show, and Lumen's gonna just finally lose their patience. In regards to their goals and what they could be trying to do, the staff have been really holding them back in a lot of ways, even though they're necessary. So I could see some repercussions coming in the end of season 2 for a lot of these characters, especially considering it starts off with everything seemingly being okay. Everyone's like giving them balloons and stuff. I know everything's not okay for them necessarily, but they're not really getting punished for any of what they did, which basically put Lumen in a hot spot, especially Helly. That is dangerous territory. I know she's also Egan, but oh, it could be cool to see some conflict inside of the Lumen administration between the Egan family and the start of my Civil War theories. Maybe see some button of heads, you know? Yes, I still stick to that. Necessarily would get along in regards to their goals. The staff obviously have faith in Kier, and the Egans, I think, have more faith in themselves. I think the Egans are more egotistical. I don't know. Anyways, these are some of the favorite comments I've seen. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. In regards to their goals, the staff. I want to say something here, but I don't want to. And the Egans, I think, have more faith in themselves. I think the Egans are more egotistical. I don't know. There we go. All right. So we'll go ahead and leave that there for everyone to look at. I think it is interesting that I didn't know that this is the video I came up with that theory. You can actually see the moment I thought of it. Point is, the idea that the Egans could end up going against the administrative was very built up this season. 100%. Like, you got Milchick, you got Miss Wong, you got everybody against the Egans right now. Everybody gets I'm saying, you get the Egans out of there, you somehow get Cobell out of there. Severance could actually be a useful job opportunity. I don't know. Let's check out some of these comments here. I thought they were setting up a new function. Wait, I thought they were setting up new function dealers in the system where his innie was permanently erased at the end of Woe's Hollow. It felt so permanent, like a goldfish or other function. It was written that way, Johnny. I mean, the way it was displayed is very much displayed as like, you will never be remembered again. And like, if there was a scene, or maybe I missed it, but if there was, I know they said like, you'll never return, we're gonna get rid of all your stuff and blah, blah, blah. It sounded more like he was just getting fired. You know, it sounded more like if they were like, hey, this little button, this is his entire memory as an innie, and they crushed it, then I'd be like, oh yeah, he's gone. Damn, that sucks. But like, I don't know. To me, it felt like they were trying to make it seem like he was dying, and it just didn't sit with me. I was like, yeah, I mean, they'll turn him back on in a little bit, you know? They never did turn him back on. And they might never do it again. Now that would be cool. If Irving isn't reintegrating and he never comes back and he was actually turned off and he never comes back at all, and that was the moment that any Irving actually died, props. Mad props. Because it's really hard to kill a character that way without retrospect. So I mean, in retrospect, if it turns out they killed Irving there, and Erickson, you son of a bitch, you did it again. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, Scavenger's Reign was amazing. I miss Scavenger's Reign. Would also set up the potential to erase Helena for the series finale, potentially. I do think that I could see Helena getting permanently erased, or permanently stuck working as an innie while innie Helly gets to be out and like live a free life. But like Helena isn't like in prison. Like she voluntarily is succumbed to staying there. Maybe she doesn't want to be there, but she isn't really, you know, fighting to get out. I don't know. Helena is not a... I feel for the things she has to go through, but she's not a good character. She's very bad. Very bad person. Very horrible person. Which, you know, some people may not like to hear. I know some people are big fans of her. I'm all for Helly. Helly is all the way. Helly doesn't assault people. Just saying. Anyways, these are some of the favorite comments I've seen on my recent videos. Yeah, I got some comments too. Some of them just adding to the theory, some of them coming up. Let's take a look at some of these comments from you guys once it's done loading all the way. Appreciate it. No. Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna push this to the side here so we can see. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments. All right. One thing, when Cobella says her former husband was a carpenter, I took that to reference Jesus, as in believing Jesus promised her. Let me turn on Spotify real quick. There, just so it's not just me yapping. This alludes to the contrary canon of Kier promising her something more tangible than a house in the hereafter. Wait, let's talk about Cobell's late husband for a second. Now with the new context we have. One thing, when Cobell says her former husband was a carpenter, referencing Jesus, okay. Promising her something more tangible than the house in the hereafter. Who was her husband? She worked at the ether mill. That must have been a lie to manipulate Mark, yeah? Because she worked at the ether mill, was with that hillbilly dude a little bit, and then left because she was taken with Lumen. I guess there's I guess there's more life there to be said. But, I don't know. Alright. I feel like I almost said something really rude. I love Patricia Arquette. That's all I'm saying. No, they aren't trying to raise Kier. They've already got him inside the head of their current CEO. That's what the board is. And those people in his head will get moved to Helly's head when she becomes CEO. There's still likelihood of this. This isn't out of the question. The 9? We didn't get more lore about the 9 or anything like that, but that's... Jury's not out. Jury's still out. I mean, the overtime protocol alone, I think, disproves this. All the innies are suddenly inhabiting the real-world bodies while actively interacting with other people. Oh, that was a simulation theory, yeah. Yeah, the simulation theory was for fun. It wasn't really... It was just a way to think about the idea of a simulation, which you could say any show is a simulation, but this show actually gives you a lot of clues to it being a simulation, which makes it fun to talk about. For sure not a simulation. 100%. Why does that statue of Kier look so much like Owen or Luke Wilson? Yeah, that's what spawned the Owen Wilson. Okay, all my Owen Wilson connections were this comment right here. Nice. Good job, Oh So Fine. Oh So Fine. That's a nice name. It's a creative name. Charlotte was born in 1944, so it's her mother. It was her mother. Good call. It was her mother. Mark shows his ID early in the show, so we know it's present day. Koba wants to bring back her mother through, my assumption. Yeah, I mean, she already... I don't think her mother's... Does she want to bring back her mom still? No, I think she invented... Someone said that she invented Severance so her mom could, like, be at peace and not have to deal with a lot of the stuff she was dealing with. I don't know. All right, let's do a comments check real quick. It seems that Season 3 could be an insane prisoner's dilemma inside the lockdown Lumen building between innies, outies, and the staff. That would be cool. That would be cool. Although I think people on the outside are still good. It'd be cool to have a whole season inside the Lumen building. Oh, I'd love that. Not a whole season, but majority. And like they go deeper into the building and find different things. We never found out what those houses were and that people lived there. It could have just been the neighborhood outside of Lumen, but still. Kier saying, wow. I imagine Kier and the automaton talking to Milchick at the end there, and Milchick roasting him for being plastic, and then doing the Owen Wilson, wow, just in response to being so hurt. That was good. I like that. I have a horrible sense of humor. Okay. I think Lumen is kind of a mental prison for people responsible for the death of their loved one. Mark S. was likely driving the car his wife died in. Sorry. I think Totoro's responsible for his dad's death. Oh, could still be true. Set up and unravel the host bring a prison back, but was always out of reach, which is their punishment. That's a pretty... It's a good theory. Wrong, unfortunately for Mark at least, but still pretty good. When my Innie found out he was imprisoned at work and there's no escape, there would be a massacre. Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone's team Helly in regards to like dealing with Lumen. No one should have been as forgiving to Lumen as a. Oh no, I lost my. There we go. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and keep playing here. All right. Those are my predictions. That's just me yapping for a bit. I know it's unscripted. I just kind of want to throw my thoughts out there. Either way, I'm excited for season 2. I'm debating on doing live streams so I can kind of chat with people afterwards. I also don't think I'm a big enough channel for that necessarily, but it would be really cool to have some conversations post. That's so funny. I didn't even episodes and stuff like that. So if that's something anyone. Hold on, let me restart this a second. Predictions. That's just me yapping for a bit. These are some of the favorite comments I've seen on my recent videos. Genuinely, I want to see out there. Some of them just adding. So this is before I even decided to do live streams. I think I reacted to the entire season except for the first episode on live streams. Those are my predictions. That's just me. Which, if someone said, I know it's unscripted, but I'd actually do well in this freaking platform, I would have been live streaming the whole time. I'm excited for season 2. I'm debating on doing live streams so I can kind of chat with people afterwards. I also don't think I'm a. It's been so fun going on this journey with you all. My goodness. It's really cool to have some conversations post the episodes and stuff like that. So if that's something anyone would be interested in, let me know. I don't know. Now I want to go ahead and say thank you to everybody who's showing support. Really means a lot. World changing. Oh, I should start showing up comments more. People who took some time. Oh my gosh. Okay. I do want to call out the fact that these artists were on Reddit and they just drew so many different photos of me. Let's go ahead and look through some of these guys real quick. Am I vain? Maybe, but I feel like they're just funny, so I kind of want to look through them. Oh my gosh. Let's check chat while we do before we do this. I see. Some of these photos are so good. They're all really good. I don't know why I said some. This one's really good at the end here. I love all of them though, to be fair. This one just makes me laugh the most. Oh my goodness. There's so much potential left for the severed floor. Perry's map fascinates me. I'd love the entire season searching for the Coil of Doom. Yeah, I would love just a whole like 4-episode arc of them searching through Lumen. And then episode 5, you can like cut to Devin and Gemma and then cut back to Lumen. I don't know. Lumen is the closest thing we'll get to a narrative backrooms ever. And if you know what the backrooms is, like, I don't know, I'm all about that stuff. Anything where characters are trapped somewhere, whether it's in an apocalypse, in the woods, in a building, I'm all about it. On a platform, love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Shout out these artists. I want to see if I can get a screen grab of this looking similar. My eyes are going 2 different directions. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try this. I don't know how good that looks. I'll have to see in retrospect if that actually ended up looking good or not. We'll see. We'll see. Make the drawings into the Innie's Miss Casey missing poster. That, oh, you helped me figure out this, because I do have a story going on. If you wonder, anyone watching wondering why I'm wearing a chicken costume, real Mudbeards know why I'm wearing this. So there is a story there. You just helped me develop the narrative for my next, when Severance returns with the trailer. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm not gonna have Severance for so long. What am I supposed to do with my life? What am I supposed to think about? No other show makes you ponder and think this deeply. I feel dumb genuinely looking at this show. There's some shows that are smart for very specific reasons. Severance is such a smart show that it's like, You have people that are like, did you not notice that in this specific frame, the color palette was the exact reminiscent color palette of the painting in the mural where the MDR team was still blue and green? Like, there's so many small details people notice that I would never notice in a million years. So, I mean, I like that, though. I like shows that, like, no matter how... I'm an analytical thinker, so I'll watch movie trailers and show trailers, and I'll put the narrative together pretty quickly, or at least pieces of it. And I'll still enjoy the series, but, like, when something keeps me wondering... I'm hooked. I'm hooked. Alright, let's see what's the rest of this here video. What's the rest of this here video here got going on here? I don't think I say anything too important, but we'll find out. We're just looking for some people. If you're ever looking for some talented voice actors or talented artists to draw you, I'll leave some links in the description if you want to check them out. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Oh, that music transition was so bad. Yeah, you can tell I still had a little bit to learn. I still have a lot to learn. I'm not that great. My goodness.
Dear chosen one key.
My goodness.
I'm really
That was fun. I was very wrong about most of my stuff. I realized a lot of my predictions were very broad. They weren't very good. A lot of my predictions were pretty like straight up. Like, I think Dylan's gonna be inside the Lumen building at some point. I don't know. I gotta do better about my predictions. Not proud of those. Some of the Irving prediction was good. The Irving prediction was fire, to be fair. Irving prediction was on point. Devin was close, but I mean, a lot of this stuff was clued in the trailer, so I don't like. Look, watching the trailer, it's like, man, they really. It's like if someone says there's a treat for you in the cookie jar, and I'm just like, I bet it's a cookie. And that's pretty much. I start clapping afterwards, like I did something really cool, and Ben Stiller's like, you still don't get a blue balloon though, little guy. Because people breaking things down. Let the adults break things down. You can just talk about the colors. And at the end, I'll just do one quick little theory on where I think season 2 will take us as a whole. The goal you should do live streams with Yellow Jackets. I mean, I do react to the episodes when they come out. I definitely like live stream Yellow Jackets live streams. I guess I could do like a discussion live stream. But I feel like there's so many talented live stream YouTubers that do discussions with the community that I don't want to. But I have seen some of the promos. I genuinely react to the episode the night it comes out, and I stick around if anyone ends up contributing anything to the conversation. I am down to stream as long as the conversation's going, or if I'm feeling tired. But now that I'm actually getting paid by YouTube, there's more incentive to like set up things for like longer periods of time. So I'd be happy to like set up a live stream, like a multiple hour live stream. You know, stick to the schedule. But I don't know if I have an audience wide enough yet to really permit that. So sorry if that annoys some of you. Still, I do live stream Yellow Jackets, and if you ever are interested in talking about it, watch it the minute it comes out, and then hop on YouTube and check out the channel, and then just let me know what you think. I might still be watching the episode, because sometimes the app doesn't release it on time. But, yeah. If this show goes on for a couple of seasons, lunch done, back to chores. Yeah, thank you for joining, Constance. Appreciate you. Appreciate you a lot. I really enjoyed the warm welcome that the Severance community has given me into the YouTube sphere. The Arcane fans are also super sweet, but Severance really just narratively gave me a lot to think about. And the fandom really engaged with the channel in a way that, like, I felt like just a regular YouTuber, you know, when I was barely getting started. Simply because everybody was so engaging and so polite and just so communicative about the series and trying to figure things out. And I really enjoyed, like, you could go back to any of my Severance videos and look at the comment sections, and I really enjoyed the conversations going on down there. I think universally, the Severance fandom is a very well-tuned fandom, which is not going to be the same for Season 3. Mark my words. The show's going to be way too big by the time Season 3 actually drops, that you're going to have a lot more toxic, crazy, wild takes from the series. People are going to watch and be really bored when a character doesn't die next season. And then you're going to have to be like, you realize death isn't a big part of the show, right? And they're going to be like, but we saw that elevator scene that everybody was talking about. It's like, yeah, it's built up to, you know, you gotta build up to this stuff. It's not...
They're both trapped in really different
I don't know.
ways.
I'm just yapping out at this point.
Helena's trapped
Point is,
in the company company.
I've really enjoyed
Born
covering
into.
Severance with everybody.
Howdy Helly, basically.
I am still releasing
jealous
a
of
video on the
Lady
goats
Helly
and
like,
spirituality
being
that I'm
rebellious.
really excited
Maybe
to
she
do.
wants to be
That will be
rebellious
coming
in
out tomorrow
D&D
morning.
as well. But yeah, that's
If I can get
where
it
Helly
fully
is season.
edited. If not, it'll be
Season
out
could
tomorrow
end
evening.
with her.
Otherwise,
I don't
the
know.
goal is to
depends
have it
on
out by
how
tomorrow
closely
morning.
attached
So we shall
any
see.
Helly becomes to Mark.
Either way,
If any
I
Helly
think we
becomes
may
much
call
more
this
attached to
stream
Mark,
here.
I could see
I'm gonna
it
leave the
with
VOD
any
up. This will
Helly
be fully
maybe
available for
disappearing
everybody
altogether,
to
you know, and
watch
Howdy
whenever
Helly
they
kind of
want.
taking the
I'm trying to
taking
figure
the
out
reins, which would be really
any of
sad,
my members that
obviously,
end up
but if
watching
the show
these,
goes on for
comment and
more
let me know
seasons,
or
it
reach
would-
out and let me
it
know,
would add a lot
because
of
direct
weight.
communication
Plus,
is
you
the
get to
best
keep
way
the
for me to
amazing
find out
actor
what you
around,
want.
so
But in regards
double
to, I'm
win.
trying to figure out what I want to include for just channel members
Then we have
and
Mr.
what I want
Milkshake.
for everybody,
Mr.
right? So
Milkshake.
videos like
So
these or streams
this
like
one,
these, I
I
want to just
actually had
communicate
no
with the
clue
whole
where he could be going
Mudbeard
until
community.
I saw a casting
But
video,
I do
so
want to
just
make
for
something special for those who
But
pay
basically,
me,
it's
because
the
that's
idea that he will be trying
not
to make this
necessary, and
class.
they decide to do it
The
anyways.
idea
So
that he will-
yeah, I'll definitely have to figure something else out.
Rid of the mess he made.
Either way, again, the Severance fandom, the most welcoming and non-toxic fandom I've ever seen. I really enjoyed seeing the conversations going around. I got to meet so many cool creators and so many cool people covering this show. And even though I didn't get to meet any of the cast or respond to any of the cast or communicate with any of the cast, I did get to become a huge fan of Brett. So while Adam Scott was already on my list for huge fans, I now have Tamil, Britt, and well, I was a fan of Gemma's actor too. To be fair, she was in the 100, so that was awesome. Either way, really enjoyed the series. Really enjoyed stepping into it. Really enjoyed the community engagement. And if you guys want to see more streams like these or want to have another discussion sometime, I'm definitely down. Otherwise, next video on Severance might be my last for just a little bit, but that always is dependent on engagement. If the video does well and people want to see more, I'll definitely do it. But otherwise, I'll probably just have one final Severance video to kick off the year until we get some news about the next season. Once casting things or whatever comes out, I'd be happy to make some new videos, but for now, we will go ahead and end it there. Alright. Thank you everybody for joining my stream. I really appreciate you guys coming down and watching. I appreciate all of the involvement everybody's had. I also want to say thank you to a discussion live stream for Yellow Jackets would be good. I might have to do that. I'll set up a time for a Yellow Jackets discussion live stream. Maybe after the next episode, because I have a court case video I'm working on this week, and a couple of Invincible Daredevil videos. Yeah, maybe I'll do another poll. I don't know. I'm still learning a lot of stuff. Either way, thank you guys for all joining. Really appreciate you guys joining me along. Chicken Man will miss you guys on your adventures, but he's enjoyed you having him here. Have a good rest of your days, and oh boy, the wait for season 3 couldn't be here any sooner.